So let me get this straight. If a grown man in a van offers you balloons, magic tricks,
Absolutely not.
a ride home,
I'd rather walk through a cornfield full of deadly scarecrows.
correct, because that van ride ends with you locked in a basement.
With a phone that doesn't work.
Except it does.
And it's ringing.
And it's not for pizza. Hello, thank you for being abducted. Your suffering is important to us.
Press 1 for escape tips.
Press 2 for breathing instructions.
Press 3 if you'd like to speak to a previous victim.
Congratulations!
You've reached
The Black Phone.
Spoiler alert, Slashers Paradise encourages viewers to watch these horror films before listening to our show. Danny and Lance will go through everything, including filmmaking, dialogue, characters, and even full scene breakdowns when we get excited. Enjoy the show.
I know, dude. Total slasher vibes upstairs. Oh, hold please. Hey, slashers and slashettes. It's the Paradise Slasher chilling on the ghostly landline. I'll let Danny explain the name of the game, but here is the slash word of the night. Grab. Like the grabber without the Anyway, I gotta take this. Enjoy the show, my ghostly surfer dudes, and don't forget, if the phone rings, answer it, or else.
Oh, Danny, it's The Black Phone. It's one of our more requested films. I'm curious to see where we go with this one.
Rig-a-din-din-din-din. Dig-a-din-din-din-din.
Nah.
Dig-a-din-din-din-din. Dig-a-din-din-din-din. The mountain is high. I half expected a bunch of seniors in trucks with paddles trying to initiate a bunch of freshmen. It gave off an amazing vibe. You had the pitching. You had the small town baseball game. You had it all. And then you even had the 70s plus free ride. I mean, this was Dazed and Confused. However, it's not. It's the Black Phone, baby.
How much more could they hit you over the head with it? I want to get into that a little bit later. Actually, I'm going to go off script for that one. But welcome to Slashers Paradise. That's Danny, and I'm Lance. We're talking about the Black Phone. Finally, for some people out there, it's finally the Black Phone. Ethan Hawke in the Black Phone. I'm excited to talk about this because so many people have been excited for us to talk about it. So, as you've already heard, the Paradise Slashers gave us the slash word of the night. Danny, how does slash word work again?
I'm so glad you asked, Lance, because for those of you that are just joining us for the first time, thank you so much, Slashers, for joining us in our paradise. This is where we play Slash Word, which is the Slashers Paradise take on the very popular game Pathword, wherein you hear the slash word said by either Lance or I. You take a drink. Take a drink of your favorite beverage of choice. It could be alcoholic. It does not have to be. We just ask that you have fun and play the game and enjoy slash word and the Black.
Danny, speaking of the Black Phone, give us our pina colada for the Black Phone.
Pina colada, folks, if you are just joining us for the first time, is a basic rundown of the movie we are about to talk about. So yes, it is nice that you watched the movie before listening to our episodes, but if you're just a rambunctious, fun-loving type of person, here is the Pina Colada, the Black Phone. In a small Colorado town, Finney, who is pitching a very amazing game with a mint arm, gets abducted
he's
by
throwing
a
95 at 10 years old, by the way. I just wanted to say that. Sorry to interrupt your Pina Colada, but that kid has got a whip.
It's an important fucking stat. Finney, who has a mint arm, that's important, gets abducted by a mass killer known as the Grabber and is locked in a soundproof basement. The only thing in that room, a mattress, and a disconnected black phone that definitely should not be ringing because it's disconnected. Aha, but it is. On the other end are voices of the grabber's previous victims, ghosts trying to coach him through survival. Meanwhile, his sister Gwen, who's a absolute badass, may or may not have psychic powers, dreams, visions that might help solve the case as to where Finney is being held and where the grabber is. Will Gwen and her psychic powers allow Finney to be rescued, or is Finney going to be coached by his amazing ghost friends, his pals from the other side, to defeat the grabber? You'll find out when you watch The Black Phone.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Danny. From the box art, the movie is directed by Scott Derrickson, who also gave us Sinister. This one starring Ethan Hawke, go figure. The film was released on June 2022, which I just found out right before this episode that if you Google it, it still says 2021. This was not quite a casualty of the pandemic, but it was definitely pushed back because of the pandemic. The budget was between 16 and 18 million. There's like a rough for that. It did pretty well for a slasher. It raked in 160 million worldwide. It didn't have quite the punch that it had at the time, around that time, but it definitely did pretty damn well for its first 2 weekends. So applaud to that. But looking at the box art, that's what I'm here for. Let me pull it up. All right. You know what? It's funny to look at. So it's pretty simple. We've got the grabber right in front of us. We've got the masked character wearing glasses and a hint of a top hat. It is scary to me. It is pretty right in your face. We know that the pale masked men or women of the horror culture speaks to us for some reason. I don't know what it is, but the pale face always seems to creep us out the most. Looking at this, though, it's so funny. Obviously, Ethan Hawke is right there. We know this is an Ethan Hawke film. We can take a guess that he must be the grabber. My take on this film, I didn't realize was right there in the title, or right there in the art, which is this feels true crime to me more than slasher or horror at times. So yeah, so we've got the smiling, it's smiling at me, Danny.
It's
the smiling
at
face
me
of Black Phone, and the top hat.
Forget it. Don't forget it.
It's got something else to it. You know what I mean? It doesn't quite pick out what the era is right from that, but it is creepy. I think it's a pretty cool poster. I'm giving it, a top tier poster. Or video art, as it were. Danny, what are you doing with this in the video store? Are you putting it art out, or is it intriguing enough to just see the Black Phone and pick it up?
Well, I'll tell you, this is intriguing to me. I do think that part of the Black Phone's charm, maybe allure, is Ethan Hawke. You're talking about an Oscar caliber actor here who is teaming up with Scott Derrickson again. If I knew any of that, then I'm in, right? But if I don't know any of that, I'll take the box art for the face value. First of all, I am a huge effing fan of this mask. It is not common, as you know, for anyone to come on to the horror movie genre, especially in the slasher world, that it's a little busy up here, and especially in the video art section, especially in the horror movie section in the video store. If this was next to, let's say, a Halloween 4, which is like the shape front and center, but was misleading. Anyway, the point is that the poster itself has here we are coming to the dance, and this is how we're dressed up. And it's the brand new grabber face. He is, as you watch in the movie, has variations of this mask. It actually is in sections. He has a lower section, he has a upper section. But the point is, we're talking about the poster art. If I were to look at that, plus you thought we weren't going to talk about it. We are going to talk about the tagline. It is in there. So I think it is important for me to talk about the tagline because, Lance, it sells the tone. I always say this wrong. It's not sepia,
Sepia.
when you're in Mexico? Sepia. But it is
why when you're in Mexico? Wait, what?
It always does. You know what I'm saying? It always does that. It's that thing is like, oh, we're in Mexico. Better put the sepia tone on it. Like Crash does it, and all these people. It was like an ongoing joke.
All right.
But for the Black Phone, Super 8 is Scott Derrickson's fan. He's a fan of this tool using Super 8. What we thought was just a filter, but actually he was really using a Super 8 camera to do some of these scenes, obviously in Sinister. And we see here, there's a little bit of an allude to it. As you can see, they even have a lens flare almost to the right of the poster if you're looking at it. But again, what I'm really talking about is the tagline, never talk to strangers. And honestly, if all you had was that, which is what you do when you're perusing the video store, to answer your first question, Lance, I am putting that out to fend for itself amongst the giants, amongst the Nightmares and the Fridays. Put that right there. And if somebody walks by, they will look at that. It is a jarring face, and I think they might just grab it.
Very clever, Danny. The grabber, grab it. Got it. So you are saying box art out. You're saying let the grabber fend for himself, and that'll be enough.
Let the boy watch.
I do, like I said, I do enjoy the art, but it's like, if I only have so much space, my curiosity is the Black Phone title intriguing enough to get somebody to pick it up? Is it enough? I don't think it is. So if I'm trying to tag this movie along for a 2-for-1 special for the weekend, I'm putting the box art out. But I think every once in a while I might spine it to put something else out, to be honest. I think it's cool, but
yeah. All right. Grab me.
Oh boy. Is that two?
What?
Is that
what?
Is that two grabber jokes?
Better start counting.
Oh man, that'll be our new drinking game. All right, so
how many puns can I work in? Yeah.
Before we even get started, is it a rent or is it a skip? Are you renting or skipping this movie, The Black?
I'm going to rent it. I think I honestly do think that this is one that if you watch it once, I think you get it. I don't know how much rewatchability this has. So this is a rent it. I don't know if it's a film it or a tape it and keeping it in your library. It's definitely not a skip it.
Yeah. I would say it's a one-time rental. Rent it once, know what everyone's talking about. The movie is very familiar to me, and that's, if you're catching my tone, it's been 10 minutes. If you're catching my tone, I'm probably not super stoked about this movie. But I don't think it's bad. I'm not going to say it's a bad film. I'm not going to say I hate the film. I remember seeing the trailer and I went, oh, it's Lovely Bones. Oh, it's Summer 84. It's kind of it. You kind of mentioned Dazed and Confused. It's something that I've seen before, so I wasn't super excited to see it. The only thing that got me was Ethan Hawke playing this character. Once I realized it was him, that's what kind of was like, oh, well, I do like Ethan Hawke. I do like me some Ethan Hawke. I got a book by a man in my library. So, yeah. So I think it's a one-time rent. I don't want to go back to it after this. I don't think I need to. It's not necessarily I don't want to. It's just, it's familiar to me. I've seen it before. So I think I'm good. So it's a one-time rental for me.
That's fair. I think that's fair. I think once we get, obviously we're going to get into the film, you're going to see this is a heavy film in the sense of what it's doing, what it's attempting to do, and obviously what it's leaving for you to fill in the blanks for. I mean, if we're talking like Silence of the Lambs, I also don't think that that's something that has tremendous rewatchability because it's heavy for me. So I think they run parallel in their themes a lot. So I think we're simpatico in that this is one of those that just gets one watch and you're in, you can talk amongst the folks who have seen it at the water cooler. But let me put that one on again. No, like Dazed and Confused, which I do all the time. No.
Nice. All right. We've already kind of mentioned it, but I want to get into The Mask. We're Slasher Foundation here. So let's talk about this Mask. And, you mentioned the multi-function part of it. I didn't really think about it, looking for it when I was watching it for this episode, for our breakdown of it, but there's multiple compartments of it. There's multiple bottom pieces to the mask. Do you think that there is a reason for the change? Does it set a tone for the scene that the mask is changing? Is the mask iconic enough is it more iconic with the smile? Is it iconic on every version of it? Give me your breakdown of the mask.
Well, we are obviously, as you said, fans of the mascot, fans of the imagery. I do think the interchanging parts, and they're not a lot. There's, I think, 3 variations of the lower part of the mask. But we are being graced by the wonder and the beautiful genius that is Tom Savini. This is a Tom Savini creation. Very happy about that. It feels a little along the lines because he also did create the mask for the Fiend. Rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. He did create that. It does have that sort of feel to it. There is a bit of a Joker. I mean, I'm talking about the initial, like the default setting, which is the one that's on the poster. I think because of how dynamic the actor Ethan Hawke is, if you left the entire face covered and you just saw like a little bit of his eyes throughout the entire movie, he would still deliver an outstanding performance because he is that gifted.
Yeah.
But to actually answer your question, yes, I think the variations are intentional. They are so intentional, and they play so well, because when he takes the top part off, there are some times in this movie where he is purposefully making his eyes like very concerned, you know, he's like very sad or whatever. And when he's got the lower part off and he's got the upper part on, you know, he's obviously going for it. And there's some things that he just needs to do, but I think it's intentional that he is trying to showcase a different aspect and a different, we'll say, piece of the multifaceted character that is the Grabber, but still they don't give you a lot. So I am really appreciative of the attempt. I do think that because it's Ethan Hawke, every time you do see a variation change, you're almost seeing a new performance, which is so awesome to see. And you know me, I love performances. I harp on performances all the time. So yeah, I think it works.
Yeah, and you think it is intentional when there's a change. The only time I really thought that for sure is I think it's the only time where there's no bottom piece and it's just the top horns and the eyes are covered. And it's like a last minute kind of pull, or he's trying to get downstairs really fast and we get more of his face. It's almost like a last minute, he like threw it on sort of thing, but in that panic, and you get to see a little bit more of his face. There's slasher intrigue in this because he doesn't want his face shown. Like, even when he's out in the public grabbing kids, he's got like this kind of white sort of like pale paint, and then these big sunglasses, and then the magician cap, which, you know, we find out he's a part-time magician. And there's some sort of intrigue there that he doesn't want his face seen. You know, even when there's a later part in the movie where the mask comes off and he's like covering his face. It's just like, it's such an old classic slasher moment. I'm going to ask the question later whether you think this is a slasher film or not, but that moment in the film and the protection of his face, I think it's really cool for an actor like Ethan Hawke to be like, no, it's cool covering my face for the duration of this film. Like, you actors, you depend so much on your facial expression. Some of my favorite horror films, I'm like, oh, I'm in love with the actor's eyes. You know, like, what are the eyes doing? There's an entire film where the film is like whatever, but the actress's eyes throughout the whole thing, I'm like, oh, like, I'm just watching her eyes, so I like the movie, you know? So I think it's a really brave choice, really bold choice for him to be like, I can do this. I can get the emotion out. I can make this really creepy through my eyes only, through a mask. We don't see that a lot. There's always like a weird thing, right? Like, a lot of superhero movies nowadays is like, the character's known for the mask. The character's known for covering their face. But it's Tom Cruise, but it's whoever, and they got to show their face at least a little bit. You know, we've got to know it's them. They have to have a certain amount of screen time. It's like the Halo series. Like, why is that actor showing his face? Like the whole thing about Halo was that he never takes his helmet off, right? So it's like episode 1
or the Mandalorian.
Off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Mandalorian, they kind of worked it in, right? I was going to mention that, but I'm like, they made it emotional where like Halo just made a choice. Like, fuck that. We're just going to go against the lore and take the helmet off. So, I know that's probably like obscure. I don't think a lot of people probably watched that show, but it was a big deal at the time for the fans of that series. But no, I think the mask is really cool. I do think it is iconic. As far as the intention of the change, I'm not really sure. That would be the only reason I'd probably go back to watch, is just to have some peace of mind on how I feel about the mask and the reason it's used the way that it is. But I think it is very cool. When does the black phone take off? When does it start to get going?
I think it's a good question in the sense of how much of the film are you drawn to? Are you drawn to the human part? Which of course they're all humans in it, but like there is going to be the part where the grabber gets the main character, like it's all leading up to it. And then eventually it's that part of the story. It's that part of the film. Or are you more interested in because there's overall tone is of abuse, right? There's abuse, whether it's self-inflicted or trauma of previous abuse, or traditional drunk father abusing and mentally abusing his kids, or if it's bullies, or if ultimately it's the grabber and the abuse story that we're talking. That is the overall tone. Yeah, really fun. Let's talk about it. But the point is that if you are drawn to the different dynamics of the, I think, complex characters that are basically centered on the children, then I think you think that it takes off from right off the bat, because you got sports right off the bat. You got some looking to the stands, and there's somebody's cheering, and there's obviously like, are we supposed to be rooting on for the pitcher? Who's this batter? Lots of things are at play. But I think once you see Robin, who is just so you all know, Robin is one of my favorite side characters in the entire movie. I think what's cool is that as you listen to the different ghosts calling in, requesting a track on B194 and the Midnight Radio, which is perfect because Lance has got his sexy DJ voice on tonight. So this is all part of the
apologies.
Don't you dare apologize. I'm over here just trying to keep it together, but I am very turned on. Here's the point. The point is that it just depends. You kind of are waiting for the grabber to grab him and start that story, which from the trailer. I don't know if that's the moment that it like essentially takes off. Because you could be super interested in Gwen's story, because Gwen is God, it's like Robin and Gwen. I love them so much. They're so funny and they're so amazing and they're so like perfect for their plot device, right? But I think I was hooked pretty much from the beginning because I didn't know which way it was taking me, right? And then honestly, I was making fun. When Free Ride turns on and this kid is just like pedaling down the street and he's saying hi to people, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching here? Isn't it supposed to be like, and then you see the van turn the corner and you're like, oh, right. Nobody could have fun. There's no fun anymore because there's a dick around, a piece of shit who wants to ruin everybody's fun. These kids are just trying to live their lives in the coming of age story. And wouldn't that have been a nice little story? It's a prequel to Dazed and Confused. It's kind of confused and a little dizzy or whatever, right? And no, here comes the grabber to ruin everybody's good time. So I guess the long way, which is the way I like to take all the time, to me, I kind of get into it right off the bat. So maybe it takes off earlier for me. What about you?
You actually set it up in such a way that I was like, I kind of was trying to wrap my head around it. I was like, there's something to this when I think it is Robin, or is it who's the kid he strikes out?
Bruce.
It's Bruce. When Bruce is writing and it's like, everything's great, everything's wonderful, we're getting the song, we're getting 70s kind of beat over our head, get it? It's 1978. I could go off on that right now with the way movies and TV are doing. I'm going to stay on topic and then I'll go back to it.
Right on.
when the van turns the corner and everything just, it dims and goes black. And this is the thing, right? Is like everyone from the 70s and 80s were like, we went outside, we played, and you went home when the streetlights came on, right? That was the whole thing. But a lot of kids went missing back then. A lot of kids ended up dead, and it was just like silence. We never knew what happened to them. There's actually a fun fact, not fun at all, but it is a fact to this movie. One of the kids that calls in, the paper boy, is a reference to a real kid that went missing and was never found. His case is still open to this day. I can get his name probably in a second, but so the way that it dims out, there was something to it, and then the way that you set up the scene, like, that's perfect. It's, you guys can stay out. You had the greatest time in the 70s and 80s. Everything was just wide open. You can do whatever you wanted. But let's not forget, like, Summer of Sam and all this crazy shit was going on back then. There were predators back there, and there was the grabber, so. But I think that's why the movie makes me feel like it's a true crime a lot. So it's a different feeling than a slasher flick. It's a different feeling than a horror movie because if it's true crime, it's too real, and it kind of takes me out. So I think that's the hard part with this. When does it get going? I think it is when Finney gets grabbed, because that's what the movie is. It's his experience. And you just kind of, that's what the movie is. I mean, that's what it is. It's 20 minutes or so into it that he's going to get grabbed. Spoiler alert. And at that point, that's what the movie is. It's his experience in the basement. And you mentioned the trauma part. I want to talk about that really quick. It's because we see his interaction with his dad and his sister, and it's horrifying. It's too real and unfortunate.
Absolutely horrifying.
And what's interesting about it is you see how Finney takes that. He kind of takes it like, gotta be brave. He puts his brave face on for his sister. He's angry about it. He has the same reaction to the grabber throughout the entire experience. He's never necessarily scared of him. He's always got the same demeanor that he had with his dad. And it's so unfortunate and sad. That's the thing. The movie makes me sad. That's probably why I'm like, it's too real, I mean,
who are you talking to, brother? Like, holy shit. Like, I don't think I'm going to actually mean this, but I'm going to say it anyway, just for the sake of the pop. Fuck the dad. Almost as much as fuck the grabber. Because my baby girl will never know what that feels like, ever in her life. And, what an absolute chode of a look for the father. That skullet situation, holy shit, dude. That is a skullet for sure. And then it's also like he was like, oh shit, you gotta talk to me. And I'm like, are you okay? Can you get the words out? And I'm like, you're not drunk. It's you. I know you are a drunk, but it just started. But seriously, Gwen, she breaks my heart, pobrecita, because it's you know what it is. That's why it was so good and so real and so perfect, is because what an amazing actor. She just went for it. You know that she was hurting. That was like coraje crying, dude. That's one of those cries where, you're so caught up in the passion of it all. And then your parents, they corner you and they're like, what happened at school? And you better tell me right now. Right. Yeah. And you're crying, but you can't get the words out. So you start doing the things like, and then they're like, tell me what happened. He went, but she was like on the verge of the, and I swear to God, but the things is like, you try to find like solace and you try to find like humor in moments like that. It's like, please, please, please make me laugh. And it wasn't that it necessarily was a funny thing, but she is tears riddled. But she fights back. Fucking chingona. She fights back. She's got the vodka bottle and she's like, I'm going to drop this shit. You touch me again. She drops it anyway and he loses it again. But it's the fact that now he's doing the, I guess the part where they're supposed to get like to an understanding. He's like, I'm kind of skipping along, but basically she has been telling the cops who are looking for the grabber that she sees visions, and the visions sometimes are true. And we learned that the audience learned that Gwen has powers in the sense of she could see things that actually are happening, visions and such. We learn that apparently based off the way that her dad is reacting in the moment, that this is something that was passed down, that is a little hereditary. It's passed down from her mom, who is not in the picture. She's gone. So we can piece things together that the reason that the dad is drinking, obviously, is because, you know, he's coping with that situation. He's not the best dad at all. He's being very crass and very rude to his kids, and of course is abusing them and is a drunk. But the point that I'm bringing up is it's that moment where that point has been made very physically with the belt and such, and now it's time to get the buy-in. It's like, your dreams are not real. She's like, okay, and that took me back to some moments where you're crying and you're trying to, it's like, so you're not going to do that anymore, right? No. Or if it happened at the dinner table and now you have to eat the fideo and you have like tears. Anyway, I laughed just to save myself from crying. But yes, to wrap it up in a bow, yeah, man, really, really hard to watch. And my baby girl will never know that shit. And yeah, fuck the dad. Back to one.
I think it's really aware of those situations, because right after Gwen gets beat basically by her dad, she goes in and watches a cartoon with her brother, and her brother's right there. But like you said, she continues to sell it. Her dad tells her, like, no ice. You got to think about what you did. Oh, God, it's like,
what is that?
So horrible.
Anyway.
But my only little point about it is that she continues to feel the pain, and you can see it physically going through her. She's like squinting and like, it still hurts, you know, and that just like that scene is very aware, I feel like, where, you know, and life goes on, I guess, like, or, you know, you watch your brother or sister, you know, get beat or whatever, and then you got to just, all right, well, cartoon time, I guess, with bro. It's a really sad and harsh point, but I think
but reality for a lot of poor kids, it was for a lot of poor kiddos,
truly,
reality.
Truly, I can feel for them. I can feel that scene probably resonates with a lot of people, unfortunately. But Gwen is a standout. I mean, she is a badass. You've said it a few times already. Really love her character, just for the fact that she's willing to stand up to anybody, even her dad. And she stands up for Finney, who's getting his ass beat by some bullies, and she gets kicked in the head, dude. Like, it's crazy.
Time the fuck out. At the same time, these filmmakers know what they're doing. If you are going to want to pick bullies that you really want the audience to hate, I guess you got to pull from the tree of the fucking Mulaney's or something, because, or I think that's what.
Why is it always a redhead? That's one of the. Why is it always a redhead? Oh,
I mean, let me tell you something. When growing up, there were some, some bad dudes that like you didn't mess with, and you were like, okay, so those are the chingones, right? That you're working, you don't want to mess with them because like they always had like silver teeth. And the point is that they looked menacing. You look at the bullies that they picked, and then from Halloween Kills, and then the band Keeks and Halloween Ends. I guess what's the commonality of all these? These are Blumhouse movies. Yeah, I guess maybe there's a science behind that. You really want to piss off the audience, pick bullies that are so insufferable looking. No disrespect to the boys who played the bullies, but they picked a little hodgepodge of kiddos. And I fucking hate bullies, by the way.
What does the movie do best?
Pulls on your heartstrings. Yeah, really, really brings you into a world of dread that you will be. I think I remember it mostly in moments like, if you're familiar with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, there is a part there where, and this is not in necessarily just this movie, this is in a lot of movies where, hey, I'm not crazy. Why is nobody listening to me? And you're just, no matter how much reasoning and very like perfect sound sense you are making, none of that will help you. You make no sense for the people that matter, and they're just gonna dose you with the sedative or whatever. That shit is such an unnerving, and I hate that feeling. I'm not supposed to be in the insane asylum, but yet I'm stuck. I think that's what this movie does very well, in the sense of it makes you feel the dread and the absolute unescapability, I'll say, of moments, because quite frankly, it's the point I'm going to make for why I think this killer and the ambiguity of the backstory is a preference for me because I've always thought that's scarier. I think if you're going to ever do a prequel of anything, just give us a younger version or an earlier version. I think it's a cheat code. I don't need to see backstory. Just give me another story. I know you and I have differed a little bit depending on the topic. It's interesting sometimes to know the backstory of a Michael Myers, but quite frankly, Scott Derrickson went on record as to say, you could fill in the blanks whatever you need, because we don't need to sympathize with the killer. We don't need to sympathize with Hannibal Lecter or Michael Myers. We don't need to. It's scarier because it just is. And the fact of the matter is, why is The Exorcist so scary? Why is The Exorcist so heart-wrenching? In the moments that it is because here is this absolute innocent child who, for nothing else than just being a kid, gets the absolute worst thing that could happen to them, which is possessed by a demon and their innocence absolutely shattered. So I think what this movie does very well is the ugly feeling that it can give you, which is kind of that sense of that you cannot escape it. And
I will agree that is what it does best. And usually my next question is what kills it. I think it's what also kills it for me is it's too real. It resonates too much. It's too true crime. One of the scariest ideas to me in true crime in real world is, I think we've discussed this before, is when you're walking down the neighborhood and you have no idea what's going on in that house. Like, what's in the basement of that house? It's way too quiet. You've seen the creepy person that lives there. You never know what's happening in that home. There's even a scene where, Gwen has a premonition, a dream of a house. And it captures it right there of like, what's going on in that house in the middle of the town that you would think nothing of, that's just maintained enough or isn't maintained enough to be creepy and kind of to stick out, but not enough, and it captures that really well. So I think it does that really well. And that is almost in turn what kind of kills it for me, is that it feels so true crime. It almost feels like a documentary. Even the box art almost feels documentary to me. Until we get to the supernatural part, I guess that's what separates it and can bring in some of the entertainment. But that's when it gets to the point of feeling familiar and speaking from the other side kind of stuff for kids. And I guess that's the part that separates the real into the fantasy or the fun part. And for me, that's too familiar. So that's what kind of kills it for me. Is there anything that kills it for you?
This is so weird, but what you said kills it is what I think honestly doesn't. I think what actually saves the moments where you are feeling so impacted by the dread and the terror and the just uneasy feeling is when the ghost starts speaking through the black phone. I think that's the moment of sort of enough fantasy. But what are we talking about here? We're talking about the ghosts of the grabber's victims speaking to Finney to help him. And on paper, that should be disturbing. It's like, yes, we're getting information. It's like Pascal in Pet Sematary. He is a good ghost. He is trying to help Lewis, but he looks all fucked up and shit because it's a version of him being when he was killed. But you come to terms with that quickly because of the intention of their plot, the plot device of these kiddos. And honestly, man, they are all cast exceptionally well, and they really deliver on like sort of the archetypes of each one. Robin and Bruce and then the other kiddos that you meet, that you meet them as ghosts. You didn't meet them when they were alive. But I think that is weirdly the part where I can exhale, because it's supposed to be scary, but they're helping you. Like again, I'll give you another one. How about the guy with the tongue chopped off in People Under the Stairs? He's trying to help, but I have to look at him. Let's keep going. Howie Mandel, his little monster when his horn is dangling. Very, very awful to look at, but he's trying to help. And I could go on and on and on, but I think that's what works. You know what I think actually kills it? It might be where you've told the story. Let's just take the abuse, the father spanking Gwen in the kitchen. I think I get it. After a few seconds, maybe a minute at tops, and then it just keeps on going. And it's almost like our friend of the pod, obviously Kristen, when she brought up when we introduced her, it's like we don't need to see the full thing. You know, we can see inference, right? I almost prefer inference. It's like, oh, we are inferring that is going to happen. So you fill in the blanks. And it's almost scarier for me because, well, you know. But I think if you show too much, I'm like, yeah. I think we got it. I think that's for me the only thing that kills it. Here's an example, but I kind of felt it was justified when Robin, who is awesome, and you know, one of the homies, beats the shit out of that big, you know, dude of the class. And then like, you know, when it's the fight and it's like, da. And then you get him down and maybe one hit and it's like, all right. I didn't want to do that. And it's over, right? Maybe a handshake or y'all just part. No, this one is like Robin gets, you know, straddles the big bully and then just like, sas cabron, bas. And he just keeps wailing on him. And we're like, when is this over? But you kind of felt like it was justified because of whatever. But, I think for me, it's just, maybe those moments where it's like, okay, this could have been over 2 seconds earlier.
I think at least for him, it's kind of justified because you're like, oh, this kid's a badass. He can take care of himself. I mean, he's a scrawny dude against Moose. Is the bully's
Moose.
Name, of course.
That's right. Moose.
Moose. He kicked Moose's ass. I think it's justified for that. And I think there's a point to it because what is the grabber holding when he's waiting for Finney to come up and be a naughty boy? He's holding a belt. I think that's the correlation. So maybe that's why they showed us so much of the father doing it. It's in relation to Finney being like, oh, I've been here. Like, because Finney's reaction, I think the kid's a really good actor. Like, he plays it so well that a lot of times I'm like looking for emotion from him, but I'm like, no, why would he have emotion? Like, he's been beat down. He's bullied constantly. He's liked, he's loved here and there, but like, there's no reason for him to have that much emotion. And and it actually pays off later too, because at one point he's so devastated that he can't get out after all these hints that he breaks down and cries finally because he just doesn't get it. And he doesn't know how he's going to get out of there. So it works. I think those particular moments are built up for a reason. Like I said, I'm not going to say this is a bad movie. I think this movie is very well taken care of. I think it's very well written. I think there's a point to everything. Yeah. But yeah.
I have a few standout moments. As you know, I love little like sound bites and great lines that you can always remember. And it's just like, honestly, if you didn't, this is what I think Scott Derrickson, and of course, and in case we have not mentioned it, this movie is based off of the short story written by Joe Hill.
Joe Hill, yeah,
who is the son of Stephen King. So, short stories are very, very interesting, right? For full film adaptations, we've seen them work, we've seen them not work, but yeah. So, for instance, like The Monkey, short story, did it have to be adapted into a full film? I think you ran out of space there. Or not ran out of space. You get what I'm saying. In this case, you have a short story that I think definitely can be expanded on. But I think for me, the moments that I'm always going to remember, even though a good comeuppance, yeah, that's what you get, piece of shit, are always great. It's the little things like, first of all, Robin is this badass kid who can fight and beats the shit out of Moose. And he shouldn't be friends with Finney because Finney is being shown as this kid who gets bullied. So by all, accounts, Robin should be a part of the bully crew, but it's not. Robin has his own vibe. He's a lone wolf, but who's he friends with? Finney. Him and Finney are tight, and I love what Robin does for Finney in the restroom. Finney's just trying to run away from the bullies, and he isn't running into a bookshop like the Never-Ending Story. He's running into the restroom, and the bullies are there. Another fucking redhead. No, just a curly-haired kid. We'll get into that. Never-Ending Story coming soon from Slasher's Paradise. Why it's a horror film. But back to this. When they are in the restroom, and basically Robin stands up for Finney and gets the bullies out of there. It's cool. And hey, thanks for that. You're going to have to start standing up for yourself eventually. But it's not even that I'll always remember. It is because, in my opinion, they captured so well what kids that age, how they talk about movies, man. It was so fun because you have one kid who's got the uncle who's taking him to the horror movies at the drive-in in this case, and then you got Finney who's like, no, my dad would never let me watch it, but maybe I'll catch it on TV. And then he's like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Robin saying, is the best, and Finney's over here, better than Enter the Dragon. It's just like stuff we would do when we were kiddos, man. When we were young, we'd be like, is it better than this? Dang, I don't know. And I was like, who's writing that? Whoever it is. And if it is truly Joe Hill wrote the screenplay as well, I know it's based off his short story, but if he wrote that to me is what I'll remember, is like the kid dynamic between them wasn't forced. So I love that. I will always remember that, not to mention everything that Gwen says, period. But yeah, I love that scene in the restroom with those two. It reminded me of something very familiar.
You mentioned, this is actually in my notes, that this was based on a short story. This movie feels like a book I want to read rather than watch. It has the twists and turns that you love reading, and I think that's where I would have liked it. You've kind of mentioned recently behind the scenes that you want to maybe touch on Clown in a Cornfield. I'm like, man, the book was so much better. This is maybe one of those where I didn't know it was a short story. I thought it was a full book, but the movie feels like a book you want to read, and probably would have had more intricate twists and turns, or they would have, I don't know, maybe worked out a little bit better with a little extra detail. I don't know what it is, but the movie is semi flat for me. It just doesn't grab me. Like it seemed to grab everybody else. It surprises me because this movie looks like so many other movies to me that I'm like, why did this one work? And I'm like, Ethan Hawke is great. The mask is cool enough. The mask is cool. I don't think it's used enough, which kind of leads me to my next question. Is this a slasher film? I was thinking about this for a while. I knew this question was going to come up. By the way, let me just make sure for the record, I state the actual fact that I didn't want to get confused. The movie is based off of Joe Hill's short story, but Scott Derrickson and Robert Cargill wrote the screenplay. Okay, now that that's said, to Lance's question. Is The Grabber a slasher? I'm going to go ahead and say no. I think he's more of a psychological fiend. So, for lack of a better sort of term, but not slasher, traditional slasher. I think of hack 'em up, there's aspects of slasher. I think he's close. I think he toes the line, but ultimately goes over to the other side. Whereas, like, if you were to compare him to the most talkative slasher, I guess you would compare him to Freddy, because they both talk. They're both trying to really get you in your most vulnerable spots. But ultimately, I think the part that tips The Grabber into non-slasher world is that he gets his rocks off too much in the punishment and the torture. And to me, that's Hannibal Lecter territory. While they are staples of the franchises that they're in and staples of horror, I don't believe that they quantify into traditional slashers like Michael, Jason, Freddy, etc. So to me, no, I would say more of a psychological killer. Interesting. I still cannot make up my mind as I'm hearing your answer, because he has a brother in this, which I wanted to just touch on really quick. James Ranson, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
He has a brother that's living with him while all this is happening, which kind of goes back to my point of, like, you never know what's going on in that house. Well, imagine if you live in that house and there's still something going on you don't know about. But that's when we get maybe you would consider slasher action. I mean, he takes out his brother with an axe to the head. It's been hinted at. This is the thing that gets me. This is why I had no interest in the movie. It reminded me of the 2000s era of PG-13 horror films that I was going to the theater all the time hoping this is going to be good. It's got a good concept, and they just all fell flat. And that's what this movie felt like. It's rated R, by the way, but it's because they don't show so much. But it's hinted that these kids have been pretty, sliced up or whatnot. So I feel like I want to say he's like a wannabe slasher where we just don't see it enough, but he is technically. If we saw him do the work, then he would be, because he's setting it up, because he's using weapons, because he's got a mask. I think it's all there as far as a slasher movie goes. You can brand it, you can merchandise it, you can do all of that. I guess the hard part is you can talk to a slasher. You can. I mean, how many times has Jason or Michael kind of been talked down, like, oh, maybe you don't need to kill me, I look like mom or whatever. So
true,
it's
true.
there.
Like, I think we both pretty much said it, but I do like that you called out the duality. There's the movie and then there's the grabber. Do I think the grabber himself is a slasher? He has the iconography of a slasher. He is fitting the slasher prototype. But the movie, The Black Phone, I do not believe is a slasher. It is a psychological thriller. So yes, to my earlier statements, do certain killers take joy, that are slashers, take joy in the torture up until the kill? Absolutely. 100%. Leatherface, right? I don't know if he's taking joy or he's just like, I don't know what to do. But sorry, Leatherface, don't come get me. I had a bad interview with him once. But, do I think the grabber Do I think the grabber himself is a slasher? Again, very close. You all the bullet points are hit. But if I had to put him in a category, I'd put him in like a psychological, like methodical killer.
Okay. Yeah. Man, it's tough. And
it is tough. It is tough.
Yeah. So you say no, and I will say he's a wannabe.
Ooh. All right.
Who's this movie for, Danny?
That is a great question. I think this movie is for anybody. You're welcome, senor. I think this movie is for anybody that just wanted to see Blumhouse kind of get one right. Which I'm one of them. I am one of them. Hey, it is very important to have Blumhouse. I love Blumhouse. I love what they do, what they try to do time and time again. It's the same reason I love M. Night Shyamalan. I love what you all bring to movies, to cinema, to film. I love what you are trying to do. There sometimes it's like pick your favorite artist who doesn't write their own songs. You got to sometimes pick what song do you think is going to be the best, right? And that's an art in itself. Of course, writing your own songs is amazing, but when you don't have that ability, you also get to pick which ones you're going to go with. And some are going to be hits and some are not, right? Are you going to pick more hits than not? This, to me, is one of the things that Blumhouse did very well. I think keep Scott Derrickson as part of give him whatever he wants for whatever he wants. Yes, does this movie have very similar Sinister vibes, which is also a hard watch, if we're being honest. I think it all ties back to the Super 8 formula, which I found very interesting that he said, by the way, that there is filters that do Super 8, and then there is Super 8, which he says the filters never get it right. He said, if I want to show you Super 8, I'm going to do Super 8 actual film that I will show you in the movie. And the way he talked about it, in the sense of, it's almost like you feel like when you're watching a Super 8, this is something you're not supposed to be watching, just kind of like 8mm, the movie. It feels uneasy. I don't know. is Clark, when he's watching the home movies in Christmas Vacation, are those Super 8? They might be. But even then, it's like, you're just kind of waiting for something to go wrong. The point being, to your question, who is this movie for? If I'm not being cheeky and shit, I think this movie is for the psychological horror fan. I think it's for someone who wants to watch Silence of the Lambs, Mindhunter, Candyman to an extent, something that is like very dark, a little twisted, but ultimately you can find some sort of path where it's an enjoyable watch. I don't think this is for the casual horror fan. Gotta be honest. This is for a horror fan that is aware of the variances of the different genres, the subgenres in horror. So that's who it's for. A casual horror fan may not enjoy this, but it may not even be a casual horror fan. It might be a true crime fan, to your point. So if you are a fan of true crime pods, this one might be all right for you. But it has its moments of gore, so that might take you out. So ultimately, gun in my head, I think this is for the experienced horror fan.
The experienced horror fan.
Yes.
Okay. I think you kind of nailed it at the end for me. I would say it's the true crime fan or the novelist, the person that likes to read books and enjoys movies that are based on books, because it feels like a book to me. Like the amount of characters and twists and turns and stuff like that, it reminds me of a good read. So maybe you'll enjoy it. This movie reminds me, like, it's going to have a cult following when it hits USA or something, or TNT or one of those where it's like daytime TV and like, what's this? Oh, it's the Black Phone. Yeah. Remember this? It's going to be comfort TV to a lot of people, I think, eventually. It's still new. Like, there's a sequel that just came out. So like, it's still in its hype, but I feel like one day, if, you know, networks are still around and it's not just all on Netflix, this could be one of those Sunday afternoon, it's always on. There's going to be a whole generation of people that are like, oh yeah, Black Phone. Yeah, I grew up on that. Cause it's kind of an easy watch, because maybe the kids, bring it down a little bit. And, you know, if you edited out maybe some of the traumatic parts, it would be such an easy watch, kind of an easy one to put on TV maybe. So, yeah, I think it's an easy watch. I think it's for somebody that wants an easy entry into horror, honestly. But,
ooh,
yeah.
Okay.
Or a realistic turn into horror. All right, Danny, how many Black Phones do you give the Black Phone?
I will give the Black Phone a very healthy 3.5 Black Phones.
3.5. Beautiful. I don't know how, man, it's so hard. I've gotten to this point.
I was gonna give it 3, and then it's like a fast sort of like replaying of the moments that I really loved, especially the ending, it's so great with all the ghosts chiming in with their one-liners and stuff. And, you know, Finney, big spoiler alert, obviously overpowers the grabber and beats the shit out of him and like trips him up. He does everything that is a little bit of what each ghost gives him to escape. But honestly, for me, it's so great. Because when right before he lands the final blow, or one of the final blows, you hear Bruce, because they're all taunting, all the ghosts are taunting the grabber through the phone. But Bruce with the Finney's arm is mint. What? Oh, I fucking love it. Or that's when he snaps the neck. I can't really remember right now. But all that shit played in my brain, and all of Gwen's liners, that it got the half Black Phone.
Gotcha. There's nothing about it that I love, or everything about it seems a little too familiar. I'm going to give it man. It's not a bad film. I'm not saying I don't like it necessarily, but I'm going to give it a 2. In my realm of the world, as far as entertainment and horror goes, yeah, it's like a 2 for me. I don't know if I'll go back to it. Maybe Black Phone 2 will bring me back to Black Phone 1, but...
and maybe I'm feeling this way because I have seen the Black Phone 2 recently, and... maybe that is something with Ethan Hawke and Mason Thames, I believe, is his name, and I didn't want to get that wrong. And also reprising her role of Gwen is Madeline McGraw. So
Good.
and Terrence, the dad, Jeremy Davies, are all back for the sequel. So maybe coming to you soon from Slashers Paradise. But yeah, maybe that's why I'm feeling that way.
Yeah, it might be the time. I'll just dive into it so I can get it over with. Danny, is there any other things you wanted to highlight? I know I just wanted to say you were kind of hinting at it, like the add up of all the hints, because it's like each ghost that calls Finney is like, try this, do this, I did this, here, go, continue it. It all adds up. And he doesn't know it's adding up until the very end. It's like, oh, now I get it all. It's Robin that comes in, right? And it's like, no, this is what you got to do, man. Like, fill the phone with dirt. And then it's like everything kind of circles up. Everything's ready to go. All the tools that the ghost gave him. I like that it added up. I like that it ended up working out where it wasn't just like, oh, strike one, strike two, strike three. I guess you're out, kid, And I like the grim, like, this is the day. We watch The Grabber. We watch Ethan Hawke buying lime. We watch him buying, he's going to kill Finney. Like, we know that. I think that's always so, it's like The Simpsons when Homer knows he's going to die. It's like one of the saddest episodes you've ever seen in your life. He's just sitting on the chair as the sun rises, like, oh, I die today. Like that. I do like that grimness. I shouldn't say I like it, but
I know what you mean, dude.
I like that everything added up to a solution and a finale. What about you?
Yeah, I that's one of the things I'm going to remember the most is there is a moment where hope is all lost and Finney's like, I'm going to die here. And it isn't until the moment which pays off the earlier call out that Robin said, you're going to have to stand up for yourself one of these days. And who knew that one of the days he was talking about was going to be the day that he was going to die. But quite frankly, if I do have to mention one thing. There is probably, I don't know. Yeah. In the 70s, there was serial killers that just preyed on a small area, preyed on a town. It felt like When the Grabber Gets Me in this movie. And I think that's probably the thing that I didn't go rated higher is that you're telling me that Finney was in contact with Bruce and bye-bye Bruce. And then Finney's really good friend who he absolutely needs is Robin and bye-bye Robin. And I'm just like, there's no logic to should it be Finney that gets grabbed, but except for the sense that you're watching him as the main character and he's going to be grabbed. So I think for me, it was like, oh, for sure. This is the kid in the whole town because we're following him. Of course, he has to be grabbed. But I think it's because there's kids who were grabbed around him. That's probably the only thing that I was just like, it has to happen. I'm not saying it shouldn't have happened because then it's not a story, like it's the story we want to watch. But to me, it was like, yeah, really? Just the kids that are around him are the ones that's getting grabbed. All right. Okay. Whatever. But yes, dude, like such a cool moment. And ultimately it's not even the escape. Everybody's like, this is how you get out. And I think what's also very heartbreaking about it, I think we'll talk about it when we eventually talk about weapons, is like sometimes you want it to be a happy ending, kind of like when they write it into like vampire movies. But if we kill the head vampire, all the rest of the turned vampires go back to normal. Or if we kill the head zombie, it means the rest of the zombie, whatever the case may be, you want moments like that because you want people to survive. So it's like Fright Night is a different movie if Amy doesn't come back after they kill Jerry, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have never particularly been okay with, and now their souls are at rest. I get it. It's nice, but damn, man, they're right there and you want them to like, why was your life taken? Why was you just got started and everything is like gone for you and Bruce, oh man. And you know what? Also extra heartbreaking. And I will remember this as well. Remember in all the Halloweens, I at least found one thing that I liked. And in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Director's a Cut, it's the moment where Danielle Harris's Annie has died from Michael, and Laurie is there holding her and she's crying. And what they're doing eventually is setting up where Brackett comes and he's like, where is she? And as he okay, this is going to be tough to get through. Fuck. Oh, when he's seeing that his daughter is there, died. I could do it. I'm a boss. I could do it. When he's seeing that his daughter's there on the bathroom floor and the home videos are playing of his little baby.
Oh, yeah.
They do it for Bruce. I think they do it for Robin too. But for Bruce, man, Scott Derrickson shows us Super 8 footage of a young Bruce growing up. I think to me is like, I'm like, fuck, man. But they got the grabber. The kids should come back to life. You already showed us that there's fantasy through this fucking black phone, so nothing fucking matters. Bring them back or something. Let them, come back to life or something. But yeah, I think that's the reality. And what is, I think, ultimately very good about this story is like this is real. This is real. There is no backstory that's going to give you any sort of help as to why the grabber is this way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the truth is the evil is out there and it doesn't care who you are. It just comes for you when it comes for you. Bad times come for even the best people. And I know that is what this movie does so well and why I can't watch it anymore.
Yeah. We kind of talked about Mason Thames and as Finney as being a final boy. We didn't even really mention the fact that all of the survivor or all of the dead are boys.
Yeah, that's the only kind of solace I found was like, I was thinking about my daughter the whole time and I'm like, well, he was targeting boys. Weird, but the compartmentalization you have to do sometimes to watch shit like this.
I had that for Gwen when Gwen goes right in front of the house that she thinks is part of the grabber. I'm like, no, she's safe. It's okay. Because you kind of said like, if it's not Finney, who is it? I'm like, well, then it's Gwen, but it can't be Gwen because he wants to play naughty boy. He wants to go, he targets boys. So there's kind of a weird sense of like, oh, Gwen's fine. She can go investigate all she wants. Like the grabber doesn't want her. So it's kind of a weird thing. Also, why was she wearing the yellow raincoat? Why was there a throw in of it? Why Stephen King was there?
Well,
why was she dressed up like Georgie?
I mean, there are so many ties back to it. Not to mention, of course, Joe Hill wrote the book, but grown up Eddie is I forget the brother's name, who was also in Sinister.
Max?
Max. That is the person who plays grown up Eddie in It Chapter 2.
Oh, right. Yeah. He was like the only comic relief in this movie. I felt. I mean, you had like moments, I think when Gwen's talking back to the
to the police officers.
And I was like, that scene felt a little unrealistic for a kid her age to talk back so intelligently, but it was hilarious. I thought she was so fun, but Max, the character, is like so coked out and he's like, I got it all right here, man. All the killing, like, he kind of comes out of nowhere, which I was like, this is like one of those like, hey man, like we got an extra day of shooting. You want to come like be a character in our film sort of a thing. But he adds this kind of fun comedy. He's got cocaine out on the table right in front of these cops. And he's got the whole, like, did the grabber not see that everything's right in his living room this entire time? Like his brother Max has just put everything on display and is trying to figure out.
I'm sure he did, but it's like, how I remember Jake Gyllenhaal's character in Zodiac saying they like to help sometimes, which is why the Zodiac would write in and be like, ooh, have you caught the killer? So I'm sure he saw it. It's the reverse. It's like, Max didn't know shit of what was going on as much as plugged in as he was into the conspiracy. He didn't know shit what was going on right under him. So
also, Max, every time you left the house, you had to put in a bike lock code. That's what I kind of reverted back to because of that scene. I'm like, wait, so Max every time is doing the code for the bike lock? Like how's he getting out of the house? Well,
the story, right? It's always like willful ignorance. It's if you get a hint of it, whether it be like whatever, I don't know, infidelity or even the worst people, and it's like, oh shit, this person turned out to be a son of a bitch, but they're your brother, they're your sister, they're your spouse. You're like, I didn't want to believe it, right? Maybe there's a little bit of that in Max, but truthfully, I do believe what you said about the whole like, oh come on, we have an extra day of shooting. I love that idea.
Yeah, I guess what you just said is actually what makes sense, because when he kind of starts to figure shit out randomly, because he's just staring at it and coked out, and he tries to go to the basement door, he's like, oh, and he pulls his hand off. I'm like, this feels kind of random, but what you just said actually makes it make a lot more sense, where he's like, I don't want to know. Like, what if it is my brother? What if it's been underneath me the entire time? So that actually makes a lot of sense. But yeah, he's just felt like an extra day of shooting, and come and bring it, man. And rest in peace. He was such a highlight in some of these films. It's a bummer, man. But I want to know more about what's his name, Miguel Mora, and what he's doing. He's a good looking kid.
Robin?
Yeah, Robin. What's he doing? He's only in Black Phone. It's the only movies he's
well,
got.
when he grows up, he can do a reboot of Young Guns and play Chavez y Chavez. Yeah, I fucking nailed that.
Nice. Nicely done, dude.
Yes, sir. Going to the spirit world. Stays with it. Doesn't know why. Okay, that's sorry.
Yeah, okay, so interesting. And then let's see. What's her name? Madeline? So
Madison?
She's done a few things. Was it Madison?
Yeah.
Madeline. Madeline?
Oh, excuse me.
McGraw?
Madeline McGraw, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so she's been around. She's done a few things. And then Mason Thames, he's going to do some stuff if he sticks around.
I hope we're saying his name right, because I heard somebody else say it in a way I'm like, that can't be right either. But Thames was what
Thames? Thames?
I heard Thames, and I was like, you're wrong.
Thames?
Get out.
No,
he's
not Thanos.
Here comes Thames with the Infinity Gauntlet.
It's like, isn't it the Thames? That's the way you spell. No, whatever. Anyway,
we'll go with it.
I think he's got it locked in, man. Watching him through this, like that scowl he has through the entire movie, and can play up that emotion. Like,
yeah,
I'm curious to see where this cast goes. And he got to work with Ethan Hawke. The fun fact about Ethan Hawke was every time that he interacted with Mason, he checked in on him. And I think with everything going on in the world right now, that's really nice to hear. You know, like, hey, I'm wearing a scary mask. Hey, I'm terrorizing you throughout this movie. Are you okay, buddy? And he'd give him a noogie every time that he did it. Like,
yeah, I love that shit.
All right, cool. Let's knock it out.
I love that so much. You saw little bits of that about when Vecna was doing his thing on Stranger Things. You didn't hear about it much with Robert Englund as Freddy, and I know sometimes there are like serious actors who have to be like method and shit. Bill Skarsgård would check in with the kids all the time on it. So like, yeah. And you know what? I don't want to, at risk of, meshing or melding two things together, I want to say Ethan Hawke might have been the one, which is why like he is growing into, if not already, one of my favorite people out in as far as acting is concerned. You just could tell that the dude has just got so much genuine love to him. Recently at the BAFTAs, the Robert Amayo, who won the lead actor award for at the BAFTAs, mentions Ethan Hawke in his acceptance speech, and Ethan is so taken aback. And there is someone put it in the caption, but they read his lips, and he looks to his partner or whoever was next to him, and he says, "That's better than winning." Like who says that? Like I that's someone who's just so tapped in. But the point, what I wanted to bring up was, I believe it was Ethan Hawke who might have said something to the fact of, because he's diving into complex characters left and right and can still come back and do something like The Black Phone, which again is in The Grabber, very complex sort of portrayal. But I want to say that he said something about, as it relates to acting, it's like, I just kind of just tap in, check in, do what I need to do, and I'm good to just kind of come out of it. And from the stories, or at least the accounts from set, that obviously plays. To me, I've always felt that way too. Never needed to, obviously not at the point where these actors are, but I have, dived into character portrayal a lot. I don't believe in method acting. I just don't, I think it's another sort of tool or sort of antiquated form of getting into characters. Some do it really, really well. I mean, I think the only one, as I've said before, that has an excuse to do method acting is Daniel Day-Lewis. But I love that every time you hear something about a rotten actor out there taking their shit too seriously, i.e. Jared Leto, you hear an awesome story like Ethan Hawke, who's just a good person and always just being wholesome and stuff. And you could see it in just the way he even talks about Maya, his daughter, who is a force to be reckoned with in her own right. So I do enjoy everything he's done, and I love hearing that, especially that happened on set with him and the kiddos.
Yeah, I think he's just a well-rounded human. Like I said, I got a book by him which kind of goes into like, he's got lineage. He knows about his lineage, and his lineage has like handed down books to him from knighthood and all this kind of stuff. So I think he's really well tapped into what the world is, and he can bring that to acting and wants to share it with everyone, which I think is really cool. I think he's got an interesting outlook on the world. We need good people in the world right now. You mentioned the method acting part, especially when it comes to kids movies. I didn't know this till recently, but John Voight, I guess, on the set of Holes, I guess he was a big like method dude, and it like messed up Shia LaBeouf and his dad, and like there's a whole thing about that because he would not break fucking character and was terrible. It's like, I think that's when you got to break into the reality of like, I don't want to fuck up the people around me and the kids, but.
And also on Holes, my man, on fucking Holes. That's what you're doing? Go
right.
Fuck off, dude.
But like I said, Daniel Day-Lewis, he can do it all he wants because
he can do it all he wants.
God.
Yeah.
Some of the stories I've heard about him and his method and going out while still in character is insane.
Yeah. So not over here, like, again, sending used condoms and dead rats to people's trailers. He's just staying in character, but like, you never heard it boiling over into something, ridiculous. So yeah, method acting to me, and I will stand by this till forever, method acting was always an excuse for less than actors to be dickheads.
I guess. You mentioned Jared Leto. I'm like, he doesn't act though. He just kind of does Jared Leto, like refuses to cut his hair and be a character anymore.
Bingo.
So like, what's the method? Bingo. All right, Danny, got anything else on the Black Phone?
Folks, if you are looking for something that you want to just pop on and dive down one of those psychological, this is something that is very much existing in the world. We don't even have to get into, obviously, the parallels of the awful dynamics that are obviously plaguing us right now. But it's a movie. It's art. It's a safe sort of, you could see it on screen and it isn't real. Enjoy the Black Phone.
And for all those reasons, maybe wait a little while, maybe wait a decade to watch it.
Please, God, let's get back to something that we can watch films like this and be like, oh, cool. Wow.
Right.
The way it used to be.
Yeah. I don't know if we need this much reality right now. All right. Well, that's Danny, and I'm Lance, reminding you to
lock your doors,
bolt your windows.
And yeah, I took him down because obviously I'm the grabbers. You dumb fucking fart knockers.
And join us next time in our Slash's Paradise.
Fuck with Finn again. I fuck with you. Hey, did you see anything you like?
Thanks for checking out Slash's Paradise tonight. Be kind and rewind by liking and subscribing to our videos on YouTube at Dead Candy.
And if you'd like to continue supporting us wherever you do get your podcasts, we just ask that you rate and review us 5 stars. And if you don't know what to write in the review section, put a horror movie recommendation you'd like for Lance and I to talk about. Also, please visit us on Instagram at Slashers Paradise.
If you need even more Slashers Paradise, head over to slashersparadise.com where you can get drink recommendations, our favorite episodes, and more. Until next time, remember to
Lock your doors.
bolt your windows.
And this is Slasher's Paradise. Sorry, I had to work that in.
I'm gonna drink on that one.
Okay. Blended Canadian.